How's it going, everybody? It is Sean of the Armchair Coach, and welcome to me starting the video about an hour late. Just looked over at my screen to make sure that I hadn't paused while I was doing something else, and realized I had never started the recording. But this is episode 2 of our journey to bring Gillingham to the top of the table in the Prem. Looking at the roster here, you can see that things look a little bit different. We made a negotiation here to bring in, he's got a long name, but we're going to call him Gibby. He is a great young right back with lots of room to develop. I think his max potential is 80 overall. And we also have a new goalkeeper here. We needed somebody who could have time to develop and turn into something. I think his name's Lato Gomez. He's supposed to develop somewhere between a 78 to an 85 overall. Young and talented player that we can absolutely use. We also have a new right midfielder. Bradley Burrows' loan spell ended, so Donnie Diaz here is our new right midfielder. All three of these guys are young, talented, with plenty of room to develop. And we've tried to get off of some of the older talent that's still in our roster. Obviously got some guys here getting some rest on the bench after these preseason tournaments. But the good news is that's exactly where we are. We haven't gotten too far into the season yet, as we are only 2 days away from our first match of the season. However, we've been trying to move off of some of these players here. We've loaned out a couple of our other guys. You might notice that Ramon Pacquiao ended up getting sold. We sold him for $5 million to get us some more cap for the future, and we've got a couple of other guys that we ended up selling away. A couple of guys we let leave on loan, of course, to develop, and now here we are 2 days before our first match that should have you just about caught up. We've promoted a couple of guys from the youth squad to the senior squad. They are loaned out as well now, and what we're trying to do currently is find an offer for Nassim Rusani that'll help us, get some more money into the budget. Because I think our big goal at this point is to get some more money to hire a second youth scout. Because I think bringing in the youth talent is really what we want to work on right now. So teams are coming in making offers for Rusani. We're trying to get a better deal than just a little bit over his value. So maybe we go 1.8. Okay, they're doing 1.6 with a sell-on clause of 5%. I can't say no to that at this point. We're trying to get just a little bit of money so we can hire the best scout possible when the deal goes through. With that being said, we accept that transfer, and now we should be able to just sim through until we get to game 1. So we have reached match 1 here. We're going to be taking on Stockport today for our first match in League 1 of the EFL. One of the things that we talked about while the camera wasn't recording was how difficult it is going to be for us to buy players. We had to make a deal for a right back after we sold off Ronan Pacquiao, and we saw how unwilling players were willing to relocate, which is a shame, right? We want to be able to have the best players of all time playing for us. We just can't get them to come here right now because our quality of talent in League 1 apparently is not what they are looking for. All right, our very first matchup here in League 1. Can we come out on top today? Gibby had to take a little bit of a day off. He's not feeling the hottest here, so we have Sereno in there at right back. And another thing that we did off screen just now is we put Jonathan Amelia on the transfer list. I know we don't really want to necessarily move off of him, but he's a right back, and what we need are left backs, because I forgot that we signed him to play right back for us, but ended up putting him at left back because that's where the need was. So, gonna need to kind of pivot there, find something new, and we're still waiting on this money to maybe come in before we make a move for a new scout. All right, so the money has come in from that Rusani transfer. Now we have another 4.6 mil that we can spend. What happened to the availability of the scouts that we looked at? We had a great youth scout here before, and now the best we can do is someone with 3-star judgment. I don't really want to, but I guess I will. Is there a better scout now? No. So, great. We've got 2 mediocre scouts here, unfortunately, and I'm not too pleased about that. Okay, yeah, now this time there's 2 scouts with 4-star experience. We're going to hire one of them. It's going to be Yaroslav Schnad. And I guess we'll have 3 scouts here. I mean, I'm not particularly excited to have one of 3-star quality, but if it is what it is, that's what we're going to deal with. Next matchup on the schedule now, up against some new teams. Not really sure who we're playing today, right? So we do manage to take down Sheffield Wed 2-1 for our squad. So that's a good start here. Getting some positive results shows the management that we've got the right track on our path. I don't know. That didn't make any sense. Sullivan Booth here is wanting to transfer. Not letting that happen. He wants us to give him a new deal. I guess we'll go ahead and do that. So one of the things that we find ourselves in here now that we have reached League One is the Carabao Cup. Well, actually, we might have been in the Carabao Cup last season. So next matchup here is in the Carabao Cup versus Stockport. First time competing for it in the League One, as we're trying to ignore our bad players asking for time in the games. Do not ask to be played when we have 3 better players than you, please. We have 1, 2, 3 strikers I would put ahead of you there, Mr. Nevitt. So I couldn't help myself looking in the free agent class, trying to maybe find us some cheap depth, but notice that a player by the name of Brian Gutierrez here was sitting there in free agency with crazy high potential, perhaps. He looks to be great, and he is much better than all of the players on our team right now. So he's going to slide right in at center attacking midfielder. And why don't we keep it up here? Let's see if we can find maybe another fantastic player to add. So another young free agent will be joining us here. He is a center midfielder that I think could maybe slide in and be a starter for us right away, or someone we can develop. He looks to have great potential here. Gabriel Florea, I believe is how you say that, and he is, I mean, he's good enough to be right in the thick of things here for us. And I think one last move that we're going to make here for the sake of depth on our roster is we are going to make an offer here for Helio Varela, who will be a crucial left or winger piece for us that we can play on either side, because we'll need that depth. And we'll offer him 5K with a 50K signing bonus. Okay, he wants a little bit more. I'm happy to give it to him without the bonus. Okay, now he wants 6,300. That's a little bit much if you're asking me. How about 6,000? Okay, they'll give us some of the money back on the bonus end, I guess, but he wants $6,300 a week. I'll pay it to him just to get the negotiation finished and him through the door. And I think that's about all of the depth that we need. We add a few pieces here that I think will immediately slide into the starting slots, if not just off the bench for us, and will contribute heavily this season. So yeah, take a look at things here. We have a new center midfielder here who I think has plenty of time to develop into something even better than what he is right now, behind Mahmoud Saber. And then that makes like Francis Al-Ramadi and maybe even Bradley Dack here, who's sitting on the bench for us right now, expendable, because we've got younger, more talented players at their position. Or maybe it makes Gilson Benchamal expendable here because he's young and we're not necessarily using him as a striker right now. We're using him more so as a center attacking midfielder because that's what we needed when we brought him in. But can we get a bet? I think we'd get a better deal for Benchamal because he's still young and has room to develop. But I mean, ideally, we still want to have this kind of, or these kind of numbers as far as that front line, because they are the players that get the most exhausted after games. But anyway, that is a thought experiment for a little bit later on here, as we're going to try to step in and, I mean, compete in a matchup where we are a little bit bested with our backups on the field. We do manage to beat Stockport in penalties, though. That's good. So we do manage to move on in the Carabao Cup, which I think will help our job safety before our next match against Leyton Orient. All right, next matchup here, trying to keep our squad as fresh as possible, doing all the rotation we can, as we do get another win today. So off to a good start here in the EFL League One as well. Got to keep the squad fresh and continue finding positive results. So was doing that without thinking. We did end up with a draw against Exeter City. Just deep in thought about how to make our team better here as we move on to the next match. But these matches are going to come in fast order here. So you might see me skipping through these and just showing a cut of them on the screen as we skip by them. Chairman is not wanting us to continue with our tactical vision of standard for the upcoming game. Hey, Chairman, lick my balls. We are keeping with standard because that is what has worked for us in these first few games, or first few matches. Not finding anything in Spain still, so let's go ahead and adjust our academy scouts now that we've got them all ready to ship out. All right, so we are going to send somebody to Japan to find us a midfielder of some kind. Obviously, we're going to send them out for the roles that we want to fulfill, and we'll send him out to find us a midfielder. And then for this guy right here, let's send him down to Europe. We'll send him to Germany even for 3 months, and let's find us a nice defensive player or a midfielder. So we'll set up the scouting requirements for that, and you are good to go. So hopefully we can find some decent talent on this newest scouting mission, because right now we're still waiting on more players to enter the academy. We've got a bunch of guys in here right now who can't play in the youth tournament because we don't have anybody there. Oopsie. Don't want to have a scouting or a youth academy full of dog water talent we'll never end up using. So here against Walsall, who I think graduated from League 2 with us, we're going to try to come out here and do our best to get another victory towards the league table. All right, it's time for a Walsall matchup. How does it fare today? It is a draw. So got to continue finding wins or draws here. As long as we stay lossless, I think we're going to be fine in the league table this season. All right, so Bradley Dack is going to be on the move out here. We also got an offer for Gilson Benchamal, but that didn't end up happening. So we'll get another 715 grand into the budget. Not really enough for us to do much with, but maybe we use that to get us a new off-the-bench center attacking midfielder that's a little bit younger and maybe still has room to grow and get even better perhaps in the future. All right, so we are here in another matchup in the EFL Cup against West Bromwich. So we'll see if we can continue to move forward, as we did win our first matchup, but West Brom will down us here in the next round. All right, next matchup awaits us here in Doncaster. Lineup rotated. How do we do today? We get another 2-0 victory here. So as long as we are playing the bottom side of the table here, it looks like we are not in any danger in our first season of getting relegated right away. But we still are always looking for ways to get our team up the table. Okay, so it is deadline day, which means that things might get very busy for us very fast. We have 2 mil in budget to play around with, and I'd certainly like for us to get at least one more player in the building if possible. At least maybe one more center attacking midfielder is what I think we're really in need of to help keep our team strong. Jamaldine Jimo Aloba, we've come to the well for him before and not had it go well. There's a few other guys here. Jamie Donnelly is more expensive, so probably not looking that way. We need somebody who is able to kind of play as part of the rotation and not need to be like the star right away. Somebody like maybe Selton Sued Sanchez Camillo. I don't know if this will end up happening. And yeah, the club doesn't want to let him go. I'm not surprised that they aren't willing to let him go. He's a good player, so gonna have to maybe find somebody else. So it doesn't look like we have too many options as far as being able to buy players, but we do have the ability to still loan players in. Jamaldine Jimo Aloba is still at Aston Villa, hasn't been loaned out yet. I think we would love to be able to bring him in. Now, do we try for a loan to buy based on his potential? I think we do. We'd love to be able to loan him out. We're going to take him out on the 1-year loan, give us as much time as possible to maybe come to an agreement for his wage here. Okay, we'll take on or 60% of his wage here for the season. And then if all goes to plan, I think we're okay paying, like, I mean, they're going to want more. Okay. So the problem is when they want us to offer, I can only offer up to the max amount of money that we have, despite the fact we're taking him out for the entire season. So that doesn't go to plan. Maybe we can go after this guy right here, Mr. Selton, who I think can make a difference for us. Maybe we try to get him on a loan-to-buy option and see if they'll let us keep him. I mean, for 2 years would be great. So they're willing to let him go out for 2 years. Will you guys cover 40% of his wage? Okay, so they'll take on some more of his wage. That'll allow us to maybe slide in here with an offer on his transfer fee. I think we're okay paying like 2.35 with that sell-on clause. So they bumped the money on and moved the sell-on clause down. Here's what I'll tell you. If you want to do I will do 3 mil flat with an 8% sell-on. But other than that, okay. Really trying to find a center attacking midfielder, it's not going to plan. So I think what the plan will end up being here is there's Jamie Donnelly here who's not going to develop that well. However, we could really use him for a season to help with the rotation. He'll definitely be in the rotation of attacking midfielders. Let's see if we can get Tottenham to hold on to most of his money for us. Can we do 50-50? You guys agree to that? Okay. So we will receive a new player here in Jamie Donnelly after the deadline window, who will help fill in what we need at center attacking midfielder for a season. We really needed the depth, and I think he'll provide just the perfect amount, right? Because we have to shuffle through our attacking midfielders pretty often. Maybe one other offer we try to make here is for a striker. I like Jeremiah Kroos, but what if we can bring in a young and talented striker to maybe develop behind Jeremiah Kroos, because he's not getting better very quickly. Hamza Abdel Karim here is a striker that I've used in the past. He develops pretty well. We could make an offer here for a loan to buy situation, most likely. Obviously, we don't have a ton of money to play with, especially after making that deal. Well, looking at things here, Shuto Saito is hopping up in overall very quickly here. Aichi Furukawa has also gotten a little bit better. So we're not that far removed from having our own homegrown talent that is much better than anybody we could bring in through the transfer market. Gonna try to add Gilson Benchamal to it because he's also capped out at where he's always going to be. If we can get ourselves a little bit better and find a better striker here, that'd be awesome. So we're going to let some time pass and see if we can't make some offers. All right, so Gilson Benchamal is going to be on the move here for $1.5 million, and that'll give us even more money to maybe try to make a deal for a new backup striker as well. So we're going to wait a couple hours for that money to come through, and we will make our moves. All right, so I think we're going to try to get a loan-to-buy situation going on for Hamza Abdel Karim. We know that he's a fantastic player, just have to be able to convince them that they don't want him anymore. Gone 60% of his wages, and they'll want $2 million with a 2% sell-on. I think we can agree on a 1.75, and what if we give you a 5% sell-on afterward? How does that work for you? Why did their offers go up? Why? It was at 2.1 and now it's 2.9. I don't understand why they can't work with me here. If you're doing that, no. Just give me a 2.2 flat with no sell-on clause. Oh my god. I hate... Why do these teams, when I'm making deals to them, decide, you know what, your first offer, we're going to try to counter that with an even more expensive offer than what you gave us the first time? Genuinely what? What the fuck? Alright, so a few things have happened. Oh my god, we waited too long. Mannix Lozano was supposed to come to us via loan to be our backup striker. Unfortunately, it looks like we waited too long because we were trying to see if we could make a offer after Gilson Benchamal's money came in, but that took too long. So we are left with quite a predicament. Okay, so next matchup here for the Virtu Trophy this time. Got some guys who still need to rest up, but new faces in the lineup as we will tie here. I think the Virtu Trophy is played with aggregate scoring, so we'll have another matchup against them here soon to determine who really wins that game, but not losing still, so that is a positive. So what exactly do you guys suggest I do when every single center attacking midfielder I have is on international duty this week? Every single one. And on top of that, Dariush Madad tore his PCL. So he's out for the next 3 months. great. Yep, so I don't know how this is possible every time, but every time there's international duty, it hurts. All of our best players are going to be gone. The roster we've got out there is tired already to start the game. It can't even find any replacements really because they're all gone. So this is going to be fantastic. We'll see how this goes. Probably looking at a loss in this match. It's up against one of the worst teams in the table here, so maybe we have a better chance than not, but we will unfortunately only pull a draw. That's just the reality of things when your majority of your squad is gone playing international football. All right, next match is ready. Still got some guys recovering from their time out on international duty as we pull away with a 3-0 victory against Wigan. So we are off to a great start here in our first season in League One. Maybe even able to make a challenge towards the top of the table. All right, next matchup here, it's against Bolton. Team mostly back at full health now, aside from our couple of guys that are injured, but we do lose 2-0 here today. Not a great result. That's not what you want to see against a team that was kind of struggling there towards the bottom of the table. Babe, wake up. New youth scouting report just dropped, and the keeper report continues to be disappointing. I don't even know if I want to send him back out for more, but you're going to find me a keeper whether you like it or not. So let's go ahead and send you back into Europe. We'll send you to the Netherlands. Find me a Netherlands goalkeeper, please. Now let's see how our other scouting reports turned out here. Got a couple of guys from Japan. We've gotten great luck with Japan scouting. Daisuke Saito and Tomoya Yoshida are both going to get added to the squad. Might not turn into crazy high overall players, but definitely good enough to join us here. Jonathan Fisher, however, definitely incredibly talented, going to be joining the squad. And that's why we want those better scouts, right? They find us the better talent. So next season, if we've got more money in the budget, it'll have to be a priority for us to really look at letting guys in the scouting department go. So Laurent Valley here is 18 years old at this point, and I think he's he's good enough for us to promote to the senior squad and let him even maybe get some playing time. He's not quite good enough to be in the bench role. I mean, he's as good as Antwi, who I think at this point we could sell off if we wanted to. But we're going to go ahead and put him on the loan list so we can get him out in the January transfer window for a short term so he can get some playing time and hopefully develop before next year. All right, so after a tough loss against a team I really feel like we shouldn't have been losing to, or try to bounce back here against Charlton Athletic. All right, so we do manage to find 2-1 as the final score today and continue to pile on wins to the league table. I will take being second in the EFL League One in our very first season here, as we're going to keep pushing on. All right, up against Huddersfield, I think that's how you would pronounce it, as we will try to take them down in our matchup today. A draw is what we get. So continuing to stay away from the loss column is really what's important. We can deal with not necessarily being top of the table our first season, but with the way we've been playing, we'd like to be up near the top of the table. Up to our next matchup now. Got some players out on international duty, so hopefully we can hold strong and at least get a draw, which is what we walk away with here today. Like to start piling on some more wins as we fall down quite heftily here to 7th in the league table. As we continue to try to stack wins, it's going to help us out early on, but we're going to see us move up and down quite drastically, I feel like, with things being so close here early on. All right, players back from international duty now as we play our next matchup. Can we get a win? Yes, we take down Reading 2-1 today and continue piling on results towards the top of the table. All right, next matchup is just a couple days down the road, so lineup's looking a little bit tired. We'll have to hope that some of these backups here can hold the line, and unfortunately we will drop a matchup here against Wimbledon. It's kind of expected, right? When we have guys that really hold down the lineup for us out, we're just going to end up being a little bit worse overall. All right, some new news from the youth scouting trail. Akihiro Toyoshima looks like a very decent looking center attacking midfielder. We'll add him to our rotation, and it looks like nothing to be found yet in Germany. Waiting to see what the Netherlands turns up here in just a few days, as we have, I think, one day until our next goalkeeper report. All right, and we are back to it with our best lineup out there. You can see our goalkeeper is getting better and better each match we play. He's already up to 67 overall. So maybe a great decision to move off of Kasim Roussani and move on to a goalkeeper with more room to grow. And here, looking at the Netherlands report, it looks like we're going to have two goalkeepers to take a look at here. Melvin van Vliet and Marco Vos both look like they have plenty of talent at that keeper position, happily adding them to our youth squad. All right, plenty of time to rest between last matchup and this one, as there was, I think, 2 weeks between these matches. So plenty of time for our lineup to get fresh. Can we continue to stack the positive results? And we will take Mansfield downtown. We will take Mansfield downtown. Where are we taking them downtown to? You might ask. I don't know. The Loser Street. That's where they are. On Loser Street in Mansfield Town, as we win another match. And we'll have a tough matchup against Walsall today. So Walsall fighting their way up in the Virtu Trophy. Oh, wait. Yeah, it's Virtu Trophy time. And I think is there a group stage to this, I'm assuming? And that's why we are currently third. Okay, so we'll have to try to get a positive result against a team that we had to beat in order to get here in the first place. So let's see if we've got it for them today. All right, so we are off of a short period of time to rest here before our next Virtu Trophy matchup. So Walsall might have a pretty decent shot at taking us down here, but we do pull away with a 2-1 victory. So even with our guys resting for this matchup, we're still looking in good shape maybe to move on in the Virtu Trophy. No idea when we'll know what the results are, but I'm assuming, I think if I remember correctly, we see stuff after the January transfer window's open for that. So still waiting to see what's going on. All right, and now we are facing Oxford United today. Got some players out on international duty, have some players that are tired, have some players that are suspended. It's a lot to manage. However, we're still staying positive, not losing matches, which is, once again, the most important thing that we can do. All right, so a matchup against the team at the top of the table today with Luton Town coming to meet us at 3 p.m. Can we take them down? Luton Town will just barely get the better of us. However, what does that say about where we're at in our first year in the EFL League One? If we're putting up a fight against the top team of the table, I think we might be in good shape to make some noise. All right, and another new center attacking midfielder will join the fray here. Tomoya Nakajima will end up joining the Youth Academy, finding plenty of talent in that sense. So happy to get them on board. And it looks like we're still not finding much in Germany. It does look like eventually we do find Sasha Peters, a center back that might develop into something pretty talented. And we'll wait and see what's going on with our goalkeeper scout here tomorrow. We find another two decent keeper prospects here from the Netherlands. So a lot to consider with our goalkeeping room in the Youth Academy. I think we have 4 in there now. All right, it's a matchup for the FA Cup today against Oxford United. Got to keep stacking our momentum and use it to our benefit, maybe. Not today. Okay. A 3-1 loss, and that's really tough because we would love to have seen our... I mean, we ended up going into extra time drawn, and it looks like they put 2 goals on us in extra time. So it just wore us down in the end, and I think that will be our exit from the EFL Cup. All right, before this next matchup, we have our striker, Jeremiah Kroos, out for the next 4 weeks with a quad injury, I believe. So we're going to have to rely on Ronan Hale to get some scoring done for us, which, you know, it is what it is. Let's see how we hold up today. Trying to get ourselves back on track. We've had a lot of back-to-back-to-back matches that have worn out the squad, but we do finally find a victory here. It's 1-0 for us today, and we'll keep moving forward. So check it out. Look who's going to be starting at striker for us in this match against Blackpool. It's Shuto Saito. He's developed into a 64 overall, and at this point, I think we just need him to get some matches for us. We're going to be missing our striker for the next month, so at the very least, you know, we can try to get him out there and get him some playing experience as we lose today 3-1. Not what I wanted to see, but get him some experience, let him get some play time while we're rotating between strikers with Jeremiah Kroos out, and maybe help him develop some more before the next transfer window opens. All right, we are here in another matchup for the Virtu Trophy. We will see how things go against Fleetwood Town. We're kind of in a rough shape without our best striker on the pitch, as we will lose to Fleetwood Town in penalties, unfortunately, and that means we're probably out of the competition for this trophy. All right, next matchup here against Shrewsbury. Got to find a way to get back in the win column here. A lot of these guys are not happy with how things are going, and I mean, I feel like things are going well enough that we shouldn't have this issue where our guys are super unhappy, but unfortunately they are. So before our next match, we're going to really dive into the problem maybe, as it looks like Jonathan Amelia is getting an offer. We did list him on the transfer market because he has reached his cap. This is as good as he's ever going to be, and I think we can use the money from this transfer to help us get our team in a better shape with a left back instead of 2 right backs. So for $3.5 million, which I wasn't expecting them to agree to, we'll agree to transfer out Jonathan Amelia. We'll see if that actually sticks. A lot of time they end up not sticking with these transfers that we make. And we'll walk into an MK Dons matchup today. Okay, and for this matchup, we're actually in relatively good shape as far as our conditioning. Probably gave a couple of guys a rest that didn't need it, but we will take down MK Dons today 3-2. So next matchup here against Stevenage. Got a few guys getting a break today. Unable to get any points on the board, but it will be another draw, so that doesn't end up hurting us any. We only have, I think, one more match, before we reach the January transfer window and end this episode. But as we get close to the end of things here, we are starting to look pretty competent in League One. Might not be able to go out there and win the league this season, but I think we're fine with that as long as we show that we're able to compete long term. All right, and this could very well be the last matchup of this video until we reunite for the second half of the season. Probably will be doing that sooner now that we have finished UTSA Dynasty and I can spend some more time working on some of my other projects. So I'm hoping to be able to get out at least one more video a week featuring FIFA. We'll have to see how things look here. We'll go ahead and sim forward. Okay, so we do have one last matchup against Peterborough, and I think we'll have to adjust the squad because not a lot of time between these matches here. All right, matchup against Peterborough. Got most of our lineup in there. A couple guys needing a day off today, and we will find another win to end this episode. So to finish off things here, we are looking pretty good as we begin the January transfer window. We are 3rd or 4th in the league table, taking on the 3rd team in the league table, Charlton Athletic, as we'll get going on what needs to be done in the January transfer window when it comes up. Currently, we have $5 million in our budget to spend if we need to on whatever. In the league table, we have 45 points, which is almost good enough to get us into promotion range. As it sits right now, we'll be playing for that last promotion spot in the promotional playoffs. So as we end the episode here, lots to look forward to in the next one. And if you enjoyed this one, the chill, laid-back video of watching me struggle to find players that are willing to come to the EFL League One, please hit the like button, subscribe, and comment down below what you think I should be looking for and doing next. And I will hope to see you in another episode here in the next few days. Take care.